Hi guys, Karen Schwartz here. Today I wanted to do a tutorial to teach you how to use the Couplet Creator project on Koalgo. Koalgo is a website that you can use if you are an English teacher and you want to bring some coding into your class. You can use it if you're a parent and you want your children to play around with coding and literature concepts. You can use it if you just really like literature and coding concepts and you want to represent those literature concepts with code. So this is definitely for a lot of different people. So what you're going to do is you're just going to come to koalgo.herokuapp.com, and then you're going to go down to the Get Started under Couplet Creator. And at this top part, you're going to see some information about couplets and a couple examples and the purpose of them and things like that. So let's talk just a little bit about what the purpose of this project is. And to do that, we're going to come down here to the solution, which is provided here for you and your students to use. So the purpose of this particular program is this particular project rather, is for students to play around with a couplet. This could be a Shakespearean couplet, it could be a different sort of couplet. You can actually, if you want students to use couplets from literature that you're reading, or if you want them to make up their own couplets to use, you can definitely do that. In the project, I have a particular couplet that I tell students to use, but you can switch it up and have them do something else. For the sake of this demo, we're going to use the couplet that I have in here already. So students are going to be sort of deconstructing that couplet and then like chopping off the end words, the rhyming words, and then reassigning end words to the lines of the couplet, but with a twist. So we're going to be using something called Python's random module, which is basically this magical thing within Python that if you decide to use it, if you want to call it and bring it into your program, it allows your program to have some random behavior. And so basically this is what's going to allow us to have these scrambled similes, or excuse me, these scrambled couplets. So let me show you what I mean. So down here in the solution, we are importing the random module by saying import random. And then we have two variables here. I'll talk a little bit more about variables and values later. But first we have two variables here. This line 1 rhyming words and line 2 rhyming words. And then we have some values that are assigned to each of these variables. And it's very important that all of the words that you have here rhyme. And because even though we are taking apart the couplet, we still want to get an actual couplet at the end. And so we still need it to rhyme. So everything here still needs to rhyme. Then this is where this project is different from the other projects. So with the other projects, the student writes the code and then runs it, and that's it. That's all you have to do. But with this project, the student is actually going to ask the user for some input, and that input is then going to become part of the couplet. So that's what we're doing here, is asking for that input. And then here we're basically combining all the elements together. And so we are saying, okay, I want this input right here. That's what that line 1 is. I want the user input. And then I want a randomly selected word from this list up here. And same thing with line 2, new, this variable here. We want line 1, which is this input right here, and then we want a randomly chosen word from this second list, and then we're going to use the print function to display the results. So let's run this and just see what happens so you can get a feel for this. So it says, please type the first line of the couplet from the prologue in Romeo and Juliet minus the last word. So that is this couplet here. This is the couplet that's at the end of the prologue in Romeo and Juliet. So we're going to take everything from the first line except for that last word, and we're just going to plug that right in there and then hit enter. And then it says, please type the second line of the couplet from the prologue minus the last word. So we're going to just grab that. We're just copying and pasting in here, and then enter, and then here we go. The which if you with patient ears commend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to suspend. So notice that we have a couplet. The words rhyme, but we do not have the original couplet because our program just randomly chose some words from this list, which is exactly what we wanted it to do. So let's clear this just so you can see a couple more examples. So I'm just going to type something here just so we can move right along here. Okay. All right. So notice for that one, it shows attend and mend, which actually I think is the original couplet. Yeah, attend and mend. So if we had followed the instructions and written the first line minus the last word and the second line minus the last word, we would have gotten the original couplet. So let's run this one more time just to see what else we can get here. So we got attend and mend again. Okay, let's see if we can get something besides attend and mend. Also, I just learned you want to make sure that your cursor is always in the right spot. Otherwise, you may end up typing something that you did not intend to type. Because earlier I was over here, I had my cursor over here, and I was typing, and I had to start over. Anyway. So here we have end and suspend. So yeah, it's just randomly pulling different words. It's kind of like, think about rolling die and you don't know, or rolling dice. I guess die is a singular term, but rolling dice, you don't know which words you're going to get. So it's pretty cool. So that is what the program is going to do that your students are building. So now let's take a look at how to actually build it. So couple things to be aware of here. So your students are going to see these steps on the left, and then on the right they're going to see this code editor, and you'll notice that there's these green lines here with the hashtag. These are called comments in Python. In programming languages you can do comments, which is basically just telling people, hey, here's what my code is doing. And so anything that has a hashtag in front of it is a comment, which means it's not code. The program is not going to recognize it. So like, see here, if I'm pressing that run button, nothing is happening over here. There's no kind of output. And so it's pretty easy if your student is typing something and then they just want it to be a comment and not part of the code. Not part of the code, you can just have them add a hashtag. And to make something code, you would make sure that there weren't any hashtags. So the first instruction that the students have is to write a command to import the random module, because like we saw, we need to have that module in our program in order for it to work. So that's the first thing they're going to put on line 2. So step 2 is actually not a step of the project. It is a practice space. So the students need to understand what variables and values are in order to build the rest of the program. So they're going to play around with that here. And this doesn't mess up the the program that they're building, because like, for example, if we have step 1, okay, and then we go to step 3, we have the same editor. It's just step 2 has this different editor, this practice space. So yeah. So here, the student, like I said, is going to learn about variables and values. And so let's just kind of follow along here and do this practice. So a variable is, think of it as a box, and then think of a value as something that you put inside the box. You can also think of the variable as this label that goes on top of the value. So if you do something with the variable, you're going to end up affecting the value. So in this case, we're going to have this variable animal, and we're going to assign it a value called cat. You can use a different animal if you don't like cats. I love cats, so we're using cat. I should also note here that you want to make sure that you have this word in quotation marks because whenever we're using strings, which is a value type in Python, we need to have the quotation marks around it. Otherwise, you'll get an error message. So now we want to print this variable right here. So we're going to use this function print, and then whenever we want to print something or display something, all we have to do is type print and then have parentheses and then put the variable name inside here. I also be really careful with things like spacing because that really affects if things work or not. So for example, like if you have an extra space here and you don't have the parentheses right up against the print, and if you try to run it, oh, in that case, it does run. Okay, so I was wrong. That's cool. Okay, so learn something new every day. So you can actually have a space there. I'll have to, I think there's other places where the spacing does matter, but apparently that one doesn't, so that's cool. Let me do that one more time just to see. Yep, okay. So anyway, so you're going to have print animal, and then as you saw, when you do that, you are basically bringing forth the value that is assigned to that variable. And so when you do print animal, you get cat. Okay, so here, the rest of this is pretty much just showing students how you can have a name of a variable that has multiple words. You just need to put this underscore in the middle there, and then you can have a value that is multiple words as well. So you could have this favorite song, rainbow, somewhere with a rainbow, and then you can print favorite song, and let's see what happens. Yeah, so then we get cat and somewhere over the rainbow. And then the next piece of that is just kind of similar, just showing that you can have multiple items in a list as well. So let's move on to step 3. So we're back to building our actual program. So now we need to make a variable. This one is going to be called line 1 rhyming words. Okay, so these are going to be all the possible words that our program could choose from when recreating the couplets. And remember that we do want to include the original word here, and so we're going to put in attend, and then you can put whatever you want, just as long as it rhymes with attend and is not mend. That's very important because we want mend on the second line, so we're not going to put mend here. And let's see, what do I do? Attend and comment. Okay, so we're just going to put in attend and then end and then comment. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing here on line 6. So we're going to have line 1 rhyming words, and we're going to have, let's see, I'm just gonna add my quotation marks and commas here. So then we're going to have mend, and then suspend, and then recommend. Okay, so then we're going to make another variable, and this is going to be line 1. So this is where we are asking, or we're setting it up so that we can get user input. So that's going to be line 4. Yeah, line 4. Or excuse me, step 4, line 8. So in order to get the user input, we just have to do this thing called input in front of the parentheses, and we're going to tell the user what we want them to do. So we're going to say, please type the first line of the couplet from the prologue in Romeo and Juliet minus the last word. So this is pretty cool because what's going to happen, so I think we need a space here so that our words don't get smushed up against each other. But so what's going to happen is, so whatever the user types, when they see this prompt, whatever they type in response to that, that is going to be assigned as the value to this variable right here, line 1. So I'll say that one more time. Whatever the user types in response to this prompt right here is going to be assigned as a value to the variable line 1. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to do line 2 equals input, and we're going to type the same thing, except this is going to be about the second line. So please type the second line of the couplet from the prologue in Romeo and Juliet minus the last word. Add that space. Parentheses. Okay. So then, in step 5, we have the student do a little bit of practice with the random module, just so they can see how it works. So let's go ahead and do that practice right here. So it's going to be this on lines 12 and 13 of your code editor. Type this. Okay, so we're going to do word, and then we're going to do random choice. So this is how we use the random module that we brought in earlier. So okay, so we're going to have word random choice, line 1 writing words. So basically what's happening is we are declaring a variable called word, and then as the value we're assigning it this right here, random.choice, and then in parentheses line 1 rhyming words. So basically what's going to happen is the program is going to look at this random.choice and say, aha, we are going to use the random module to randomly choose something from this list up here. And then we're going to assign that word, whatever the program decides, to this variable here, word. Okay, so in order to see how this works, we're going to go here and we're going to print word, and then we're going to run this. And actually, I think I want to comment some things out here because I don't want to have the user input part just yet, because we're just getting some practice with the random modules. So let's try that. Okay, so that works. So since we commented out, or we added hashtags to lines 8 and 10, the program does not recognize those things as being code. All it sees is import random, the line 1 rhyming words, the line 2 rhyming words, and then word random.choice, line 1 rhyming words, and then print word. So, and we got recommend. Cool. So now, that we've seen that, we're going to delete that, and then we need to uncomment this so that it becomes real code again, comes alive again. Okay, so we've done that, and now we're going to make okay, yeah, so it says when you're done practicing with the random module, delete the code and declare 2 variables, line 1 new and line 2 new. So we are going to do that, line 1 new and line 2 new. Okay, so then here's where the random choice module is going to work its magic. So okay. So on line 12, we're going to have line 1 plus, and then quotation marks here, the space between, so that our words don't get smushed up against each other, and then random.choice, line 1 rhyming words, And then we're going to do the same thing down here. We're going to do line. So this is taking, so like with the line 1, remember that that is the input that we got from the user. So we are adding the input from the user to whatever word the program randomly chose from that list of rhyming words for line 1. And then we're doing the same thing here on line 2. So we're just adding whatever the user gave us. We're adding that to a word randomly selected from the respective word lists. Pretty cool. Okay, so now, we've got that, and now we just need to print this bad boy. So we're going to go print line 1, new, and then we're going to print line 2, new. Okay, so now we should be all set. We're going to clear this, and then we're going to go like this. Okay, so now let's do this thing. So please type the first line. So we're going to go up here. And we're going to grab that. Plug that bad boy in. And then we're going to get the second line. And we're going to add that in. And then we get the which of you patient ears command, but here shall miss our toil shall definitely recommend. Yay! So it works. Awesome. Again, if you want to have your students use different couplets from Shakespeare or from other poetry that you're reading, or if you want to have them make up their own couplets, you can have them do that as well. And here are some other resources that you can use also. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy coding and have fun.